Hello everyone, a warm welcome to all of you in another important current event session for the ESSEC 2021 Deputy Director exam. I hope that all of you are healthy and preparing well for your ESSEC 2021 exam. And in the today's session, we are going to discuss the 15 most important MCQs, and this is the part 18 of this particular series. So before beginning the session, if you are new to your YouTube channel, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates of the courses and videos offered by us. And you can also join our Telegram channel to get the access to the PDF of the sessions. To join the Telegram channel, kindly click on the link given in the description below. So now let's move on to the session. Let's get started. So here is the very first question before all of you, in which you are going to answer the question about the Green Energy Corridor Phase 2. See, recently the Green Energy Corridor Phase 2 has received the Cabinet's approval, and that is the reason that we are covering this particular part, okay? And in this particular question, you are required to analyze these three statements mentioned here and then tell me that which of the statements given above is or are correct, okay? See, these kind of important initiatives and the approvals are really important from the exam point of view. And when we talk about the Green Energy Corridor Phase 2, then here you can see the very first statement which says that this corridor is going to add approximately 10,750 circuit kilometers of the transmission lines. In the second statement, it is discussing the target of this particular Green Energy Corridor Phase 2, that is it is targeted to be set up with a total estimated cost of rupees 12,031.33 crores, and it will be created over a period of 5 years from financial year 2021-2022 to 2025-26. See, whenever you are covering such kind of program or initiative which is being launched by the government of India, then you are required to remember that what exactly is the aim of that particular part, what is the timeline of the completion, then what exactly is the objective of that particular thing. Okay, so when we talk about the right answer for this Green Energy Corridor Phase 2, then my dear learners, the right answer to this question is option D, that is all of the above. That is all the statements mentioned here about the Green Energy Corridor Phase 2 are correct. So now let's discuss this in the detailed manner, and here you can see that the Cabinet has approved the Intra-State Transmission System Green Energy Corridor Phase 2. So the Phase 2 of the Green Energy Corridor has been approved by the Cabinet recently, okay? And when we talk about the different dimensions and the figures up around this Green Energy Corridor GEC Phase 2, then here you can see that the power evacuation capacity for this particular corridor is going to be 20 gigawatt of the renewable energy. When we talk about the length of transmission lines which are going to be set up under this particular corridor, then it is going to be 10,750 circuit kilometers. And when we talk about the estimated cost, it is 12,031.33 crore, and central financial assistance is also going to be provided. And why so? In order to offset the cost, that means it is really going to impact the final end consumers, as the cost of electricity up after the launch of this Green Energy Corridor is really going to get less, okay? So I hope that this is very much clear to all of you. See, this was the Phase 2 of the Green Energy Corridor, and when we talk about the Phase 1, then my dear learners, the Phase 1 was being already launched and approved by the government, and this is expected to be completed by year 2022. And here there is a homework for all of you. You are going to tell me in the comment section below that in which year the Green Energy Corridor Phase 1 was being launched, okay? And when we talk about the important dimensions here, the similarly as we have discussed in the Phase 2, the Phase 1 dimensions have been mentioned here, the different targets, the length of the transmission lines, the estimated cost, and the financial assistance. So you can go through them very well. And now we are moving towards the next question, which is here on your screen. So the next question is a very basic question, which is, which one of the following countries has recently announced to develop a technology for its first artificial sun K-Star by year 2026? See, we all know that China has launched this particular kind of technology. Now one more country has announced that it is going to develop this kind of technology for its first artificial sun, and the name of the sun is K-Star, and this is going to be launched by year 2026. So now you are going to tell me the name of the country in the comment section below, whether it is Russia, France, China, South Korea. So when we talk about this innovative technology which is going to be developed by the country, and the country which has made the announcement is the South Korea, that is option D. So covering this in the detailed manner, here you can see that the South Korean government has recently announced to develop the Korea's first artificial sun. The name of the sun is K-Star, and it is going to be developed by year 2026. Okay, when we talk about the aim, see, the aim behind the launch of this technology is to sorry, is to maintain 100 million degrees temperature for a period of 300 seconds. Okay, and my dear learners, when we talk about the K-Star, then K-Star has previously maintained the 100 million degrees temperature for 1.5 seconds in 2018 and for 20 seconds in 2020, and now they are just increasing its limit to 300 seconds by year 2026. Okay, so that was all from this particular news. I hope that this particular thing is very much clear to all of you, and now let us move on to the next question. And the next question is about the Smart Cities and Academia Towards Action and Research program, which was being launched recently. Okay, so in this particular question, once again, you are required to analyze these particular statements and then tell me in the comment section below that which of the statements mentioned above is or are incorrect with respect to the above mentioned program, that is the Smart Cities and Academia Towards Action and Research, that is SAR program. See, we always tell you that the any program, scheme, initiative, the portals which are being launched by the government are really important from the exam point of view, and that is the reason that we are covering all of them in our these current event sessions for the ESSEC 2021 Deputy Director exam. And now, my dear learners, when I talk about this particular program, see, it is a joint initiative of the Smart Cities Mission, National Institute of Urban Affairs, and the leading Indian academic institutions of the country. That was the first statement. The second statement says that they are going to prepare a compendium of the 75 landmark urban projects. And what exactly is the compendium? Compendium is a collection of practices which are being used to achieve that particular targets. And now the third statement says that these projects are distributed across 47 smart cities. So now you are required to tell me that which statement is incorrect in a relation with the SAR program which has been mentioned above. Okay, so the right answer to this particular question is option D, that is none of the above. That means all the statements mentioned above about the SAR program are correct. So now let's discuss this program in much more detail, and let's see that what exactly the other parts are that you are required to remember from here. As the name suggests, the Smart Cities and Academia Towards Action and Research. Okay, so it is a joint initiative. We have already discussed joint initiative of the Smart Cities Mission, which works under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, along with the National Institute of Urban Affairs and the leading Indian academic institutions of the country. And when we talk about the leading Indian academic institutions of the country, then the list of all those institutions have been mentioned here. You can go through them. And now when we talk about at what exactly is going to happen under this particular program, see, all these institutions, what they are going to do, they are going to prepare a compendium of the 75 landmark urban projects which are being made in India under the Smart City Mission. And why so? Because these projects are innovative, multi-sectoral, and have been implemented across the geographies. And now when we talk about the Smart Cities Mission, then my dear learners, the Smart Cities Mission, under this particular mission, 100 smart cities have been developed. Cities have been developing a total of 5151 projects, and out of these 5151 projects, 75 urban projects will be selected, of which the compendium will be made by these leading academic institutions, and these projects are going to be distributed over 47 smart cities. Okay, now here is the whole story of this particular part, that is, it is a program of the Smart Cities Mission. Okay, there are 15 premier planning institutes, 47 smart cities, and 75 case studies. That is the compendium of these 75 landmark urban projects. And now these are just the advantages which is going to take place after the implementation of this program. That is, this compendium is going to capture the learnings from the best practices which have been used to set up these particular projects. Okay, apart from that, it is going to be act as a first point of reference for the future research in the field, and it is also going to help our future generation in studying all these particular projects which has taken place, and they can really implement, and they can got a very important learning when they will be working for the future generation of this particular projects. Okay, so I hope that this particular part must be very much clear to all of you. And now let us move on to the next question. And the next question is based on the technology based energy solutions innovations for the net zero program, which was being announced recently. And once again, there are three statements mentioned here, and you are going to tell me in the comment section below that which of the following statements are correct about this particular program. See, you have to practice all these kind of questions, because these questions, such kind of questions are being asked in the exam, these statement based questions, the long questions, and that is the reason that we are covering these questions on the similar lines only. And when we talk about this technology based energy solution, here the very first statement says that it has been announced by USISTEF in partnership with the Social Alpha. Okay, and this particular program aligns with the goals of the US India Climate and Clean Energy Agenda 2030, and it calls for the ignition grant. See, this particular program basically aims to provide a grant and to identify and support the technology showstoppers or the promising entrepreneurial initiatives in the various areas such as the energy storage. So basically everything is all about the energy solutions, as the name suggests, technology based energy solutions innovations for net zero. And my dear learners, I want to add one more point here, that recently in the November 2021 the COP26 has taken place, and this particular topic of the energy solutions, the changing climate is really very important, and the questions are being expected on these lines as well. Okay, now when we talk about the right answer for this question, then I want to tell you that all the statements mentioned here about the technology based energy solutions program are correct. And when we discuss this particular news in detail, we have discussed that USISTEF in partnership with the Social Alpha has announced this particular program. And what exactly this USISTEF? It is the United States India Science and Technology Endowment Fund. Okay, and this particular part aligns with the goals of the Climate and Clean Energy Agenda 2030 of the India and United States, and this particular agenda was being announced at the Leaders Summit, which was held in April 2021, and it is a joint climate and clean energy initiated by India and the United States. Okay, so that was the important part that you are required to remember from here. And now we are moving towards the next question, which is here on your screen. And the next question is once again on a very important part, that is a scheme. And I have already told you that all these schemes, the programs which are being launched, are really important from the exam point of view. And here you can see that the question is being based on the PLI scheme for drone and drone components. And once again, you are required to read out all these statements and then tell me that which one of the following statements is or are the key features of the above discussed scheme, that is the PLI scheme for drone and drone components. And now when we talk about the very first statement, it is talking about the incentives which are going to be provided to all these manufacturers of the drones and drone components. And the second statement says that government is also agreeing to fix the minimum value addition norm at 40% of the net sales of the drones. And when we talk about the other value addition part, then the value addition under this particular scheme shall be calculated as the annual sales revenue from the drones and drone components. So my dear learners, do tell me the right answer in the comment section below, that which one of the following are, out of these particular three parts, which of the following are the key features of this PLI scheme for the drone and drone components. And the right answer to this question is option C, that is both statement second and third are correct. So what exactly is wrong about the very first statement? See, let's discuss this in the detail. This particular scheme was being launched in year 2021, and the tenure for this particular scheme was of 3 years, which started from financial year 2021-2022. Okay, and my dear learners, when we talk about the financial allocation under this particular scheme, then it was 120 crores, which spreads over the 3 financial years. And when we talk about the wrong part in the very first statement, then my dear learners, it was mentioned there that it is going to be as high as 33%. But which is incorrect. The right answer is 20%. That means the incentives which will be provided to the manufacturer of the drones and drone components, they will be as high as 20% only of the value addition made by here, and not the 33%. So that was the reason that the first statement was incorrect, and the remaining part we have already discussed in the question itself. And apart from that, some additional points are also being mentioned here. You can go through them for the value addition. And now we are moving towards the next question, which is here on your screen. So the next question is once again a very basic question, and it is going to be a cakewalk for all of you. And the question is that, see, recently one of the Indian state governments has announced to reserve jobs in the public employment for the transgenders. See, one of the very important initiatives for the transgenders, and one of the very important topic under the topic of gender issues, which is really very important to be catered by all of you for your exam point of view. And all such initiatives are really important. And now you are going to tell me the name of the state which has recently become the first Indian state to reserve the jobs in the public employment for the transgenders. Whether it was Odisha, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, Punjab, do answer the question in the comment section below the name of the state. And the right answer is option C, that is Karnataka. So Karnataka is the state which has recently announced and decided to provide 1% reservation for the transgenders across all the ranks in the police department. And my dear learners, for this they have amended the Rule 9 of the Karnataka Civil Services General Recruitment Act 1977 in order to accommodate 1% reservation for the transgenders in the police department in all the ranks. Okay, so that was the important part that you are required to remember here. And apart from that, there is another additional information which is mentioned, that is the Karnataka police also aims to attain 25% of the women in the police force. See, with this particular part you can see here that what exactly are the steps which are being taken by Karnataka towards the gender issues. That is, first of all, they are providing 1% reservation to the transgenders across the all the ranks of the police department. And apart from that, they are also aiming to attain 25% of the women in the police force. That means when we see the composition in the upcoming time, when we will be seeing the composition of the Karnataka police department, then it will be comprising of 25% of the women. Okay, so I hope that this is very much clear. And now let us move on to the next question, which is here on your screen. And the next question is about a Muskaan initiative. 3 statements are being mentioned, and you are going to tell me that which statement is incorrect. Which statement is correct in a relation with this Muskaan initiative. Okay, so just maintain the smile on your face and then tell me that what exactly is the right answer for this Muskaan initiative. The very first statement says it was launched in year 2020. The second statement says about the nodal ministry for this initiative, and the third statement is talking about the aim. See, these are the very most important dimensions across which you are required to cover any initiative, program, or the schemes. And that is the reason that these questions we have framed are also on the similar lines. And here you can see, if we talk about the right answer is both statement 2 and 3 are correct. That means the launch year which is being mentioned here about the Muskaan initiative is incorrect, and the right answer to this question is 2021. That means this initiative was being launched by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in year 2021 and not 2020. And why this was launched? This was launched to ensure the provision of the quality child-friendly services in the public health facilities. See, in order to provide the child-friendly services in the public health facilities, this particular initiative was being launched by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and it is going to reduce the preventable mortality and morbidity among the children below 12 years of age. So once again, one of the very important initiative taken by the government of India, which also aims and which also focuses on enhancing the quality of care as per the national quality assurance standards. And what exactly these are, we are also going to discuss the same in the upcoming slides, in the upcoming questions of our today's session. Okay, and now when we talk about the target group, as it is very much clear that it is among the children below 12 years of age, so that means the targeted group will be the pediatric age group of 0 to 12 years. So one more important point to be noted from here. And now I really believe that this is very much clear. And now we are moving towards the next question, and the next question is about the Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Rural Mission. Once again, a very important mission, and you are required to analyze these 3 statements about this Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Rural Mission, and then tell me in the comment section below that what exactly is which one of the following which of the statements mentioned above here are correct in relation with this particular urban mission. The very first statement says about the launch year and the ministry. The second statement says that it is what exactly is the aim and whether it is centrally sponsored or the central sector scheme. The third statement says about the current affair which is related with this particular mission. That is, Telangana state has packed the first position in the implementation of this Shyama Prasad Mukherjee urban mission. Okay, so when we talk about the right answer to this question, then my dear learners, the right answer is option E. That means all the statements mentioned above here about the SPMRM mission are correct. So here you can see that Telangana. See why exactly it was in the news recently, because Telangana has pegged the first position in the implementation of this mission. And when we talk about this mission was being launched by the Ministry of Rural Development in year 2016, and it is a centrally sponsored scheme which the main aim of this particular scheme was to bridge the gap which is really existing between the rural and urban population. See, and this gap is really very much important and required to be reduced, and that is the reason with this particular mission the government of India aims to bridge this gap between the rural and urban population. And how it is going to be done? By providing equal facilities. See, the equality is really important. By providing equal facilities, technology, social economic development, this particular gap which is existing between the rural and urban population can be reduced very successfully. And my dear learners, when we talk about the urban areas, then urban areas refers to the cluster of 15 to 20 villages which is having about 30 to 40 lakh of population. So I believe that this particular mission is very much clear to all of you, that what exactly is the aim of this mission and what they are going to do. And apart from that, the current affair part related to this particular mission is also very much clear. And now we are moving towards the next question, which is here on your screen. So the next question is very easy question, that is the name the place where the construction of one of the world's largest and India's first green hydrogen microgrid project has started. So here you are required to tell me the name of the place, that at which place India's first green hydrogen microgrid project has started, whether it was Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh, Surat, Gujarat, Kolkata, West Bengal, Hyderabad, Telangana. And the right answer to this question is option A, that is Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. So my dear learners, recently the construction of the world's largest and India's first green hydrogen microgrid project has begun at Simhadri in Visakhapatnam, which is located in Andhra Pradesh, and it is being awarded by NTPC. The project is a standalone fuel cell based microgrid with the hydrogen production, and it is going to be set up at the National Thermal Power Corporation plant, which is located in Simhadri, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so I hope that this is very much clear. This was a really very basic question, but still you are required to remember about this particular part. Okay, so now let's move on to the 10th question of the today's session, and this question is about the first advanced estimates of the national income 2021-2022, and the first advanced estimates of the national income 2021-2022 was being released recently, and that is why you are required to remember here about this particular advanced estimate from the exam point of view. And here once again the three statements are being mentioned, and you are going to tell me that which statement is incorrect statement in relation with this all the statements mentioned about the first advanced estimates of the national income. Okay, so the very first statement says the releasing body for this particular estimate, that is the NSO, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. That is the right part. When we talk about the real GDP growth for the financial year 2021-2022, then it is estimated at 9.2% as compared to 7.3% of contraction. So that means that signals a rebound in the Indian economy from 7.3% of the contraction to the growth of 9.2%. okay, and now when we talk about the real GVA at basic prices, then it was being shown a growth of 8.6%. and my dear learners, so all these statements which are being mentioned here are correct about the first advanced estimates of the national income 2021-2022. so the right answer to this question will be option D, that is none of the above. So here you can see that this particular part was being released by the NSO. Okay, which works under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, and these advanced estimates has been released for the financial year 2021-2022, and these were being released for both constant and current prices. For the constant prices, the base year is 2011-2012. So if you want to know the difference, let me tell you that in the constant prices, what exactly we do, we just compare the performance of the present financial year with that particular base year. Okay, and for this the result is 9.2%. okay, and when we talk about the current prices, in the current prices we just compare the prices, we just compare the performance of the present year with the previous year. For example, when we take the example of financial year 2020 and 2022, then the previous year will be financial year 2020-2021. okay, and why these estimates are being released have been mentioned here, that is, it is a pre-budget exercise. It is being released as it provides the numbers to the finance ministry so that they can work on the upcoming budget. So budget is also coming, we will be covering the questions from that as well when it will come, but for now here you can see that what exactly are the key points to remember from this first advanced estimates. And here we have already discussed that after the contraction, it is forecasting a growth of 9.2% in the Indian GDP. And here you can see as well the real GDP growth for fiscal year 2021-2022 is expected to be 9.2%. And when we talk about the real GVA at basic price, you see it was 124.53 trillion for fiscal year 2020-2021, and this is expected to increase to 135.22 trillion. That means a growth of 8.6%. So I hope that this particular part is very much clear. And now when we talk about the different industries which are going to flourish, that means the growth rate of the different industries for the fiscal year 2021-2022. So I will only be discussing the industry which is going to flourish at the maximum percentage change, and that is the mining and quarrying, which is expected to grow by 14.3% in the financial year 2021 and 2022. okay, so I hope that this is very much clear. And now we are moving towards the next question, that is about Kapila program. So once again, an important program. Just tell me in the comment section below what exactly is the right answer. You are required to choose the correct option using the codes mentioned above. okay, so just tell me the right answer. The Kapila program, the Kapila campaign stands for Kalam program for the intellectual property literacy and awareness campaign, and this was launched in 2010. It is an initiative of the Ministry of Education. And what exactly it is aimed? So my dear learners, the right answer to this question is option C, that is both statement second and third are correct. So what exactly is wrong? The wrong part is the launch year. As my dear learners, this particular program was being launched in year on 15th October 2020. okay, and why it was in news, why we are discussing this? See, this particular campaign was being recently in the news as Union Minister of Education has informed that more than 46,000 users have registered for this Kalam program for intellectual property literacy and awareness campaign. okay, so now the important information about the Kapila campaign that you are required to remember is that it is the initiative of Ministry of Education, then the launch year. okay, the objective, what exactly is the objective? The objective of this particular campaign is to recognize, to facilitate, to felicitate the intellectual property innovations and the best practices in the higher education institutions. And what exactly were the different activities which were taken place under this particular program? You can just go through them for a value addition. And now we are moving towards the next question, and the next question is about the National Water Awards. See, why these National Water Awards are being conferred by the government? In order to appreciate the efforts which are being taken by the organizations, districts and states for the water conservation, because water is really a very important source. And my dear learners, when I talk about this particular part, I want to add here that India accounts for 18% of the world's population. But when we talk about the availability of the water renewable sources, then my dear learners, India only accounts 4% of the world's water renewable sources. So that is the reason that we are really required to work towards the conservation of water. And my dear learners, apart from that, This is really a very critical source, and in order to appreciate the efforts of all these organizations and stakeholders, the government comes up with the National Water Awards. And here you are required to answer the question. You are just required to find out the correct statement about this National Water Awards, and these three statements are been mentioned here, which is talking about the very first award which was being given, that it is an initiative of Jal Shakti Ministry, and it is talking about the state which has which has bagged the National Water Awards in the category of Best State in the third edition of the NWA. So all these statements which are being mentioned here are correct, except just first statement. And what exactly the first statement says? The first statement says that it is an initiative launched by Jal Shakti Ministry, which is absolutely correct. So what is the wrong part? The wrong part is that this ministry gives awards to the states, organizations, individuals in the 13 different categories, but my dear learners, it gives awards in the 11 different categories, and that is the reason that this particular part is incorrect. So now discussing this part in the more detail. See, recently the government of India has announced the third National Water Awards. Okay, and in the best state category it was Uttar Pradesh which was being awarded the first prize, followed by Rajasthan on the second and Tamil Nadu on the third position. And when we talk about some additional information has been mentioned here, that the India's current water requirement is presently 1100 billion cubic meters per year, and see, this particular requirement is expected to increase to 1447 billion cubic meters by 2050. So my dear learners, that is the reason that we are really required to conserve the water, and we are really required to take some active steps towards the water conservation. And here you can see that in order to do this, the National Water Awards were being instituted by the government to encourage the exemplary work and efforts across the country. And this is also towards the vision of the government of India, that is Jal Samriddh Bharat. Okay, and this particular initiative was being launched by the Jal Shakti Ministry in year 2018. So that means that this year was the third National Water Awards. Okay, and when we talk about the winners and the different categories, I want to add here that the ministry gives 57 awards across 11 categories, and I'm not going to discuss all these 11 categories, but when I will talk about the best state which has bagged this particular award in the category of best state, then it was Uttar Pradesh. And when we talk about the best district among the north zone, then it was Muzaffarnagar, again from the state of Uttar Pradesh. And when we talk about the best urban local body, it was being won by Vapi urban local body, Gujarat. So all these other important categories have been mentioned here. You can go through them for the value addition. And now we are moving towards the next question, which is here on your screen. So the next question is about the world's first injectable medication, which was recently approved by the United States Food and Drug Administration in order to reduce the risk of acquiring HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. You are just required to name the injectable medication which has get the approval recently by the FDA of the United States. And my dear learners, whether it is Hyoscine, Arpitude, Apritude, Orencia or Enbrel, the right answer for this question is option D, that is Apritude. See, it is option B, that is Apritude. Okay, I will be correcting this part in the PDF, don't worry about it. So when we discuss about this particular part, here you can see that the United States FDA has approved the world's first injectable medication, and this injectable medication has been to reduce the risk of acquiring HIV in the humans. Okay, and when we talk about the generic name of this particular medication, that is Apritude, the generic name has been mentioned here, and FDA has approved Apritude for use in at-risk adults and adolescents which are weighing at least 35 kg. So I hope that this particular part is being very much clear. We have discussed all the important information here. The most important part is only the name of this particular medication, that is Apritude, and the authority which has approved this, that is the United States Food and Drug Administration, has approved this for its usage. Okay, so now we are moving towards the next question, and the next question is about the second quarter of the quarterly employment survey. See, recently the results of the second quarter of the quarterly employment survey have been released, and once again this is important, and here you are required to tell me that which statement is the correct option among these statements which are mentioned here about the second quarter of the quarterly employment survey. Here I want to tell you that the first round results of the first quarter of the quarterly employment survey were being released in the September 2021, and apart from that, when we talk about the quarterly employment survey, it is one of the very important component of the AKIS survey. Okay, it is very important part of the AKIS survey, and AKIS survey is one of the 5 major surveys about which the task has been provided, has been given by the government of India to the Labor Bureau. Okay, that means the Labor Bureau has been given the task by the government of India to conduct 5 major surveys, and AKIS is one of the very important component of that particular survey, and the quarterly employment survey is one of the components of the AKIS survey. Okay, and when we talk about the right answer for this particular part, here you can see the statements. Here I want to tell you that both statement 1 and 2 are correct. Okay, so what exactly is the wrong part in the third statement? The third statement says that after total employment estimated in the selected 9 sectors, education sector accounted for the highest share, that is nearly 39%. But my dear learners, I want to tell you that when we talk about the sector which is accounted for the highest share of employment in the 9 selected sectors, it was manufacturing sector. Okay, and when we talk about the education sector, it only accounted for 22% of the total employment share. So that is the reason that both statement 1 and 2 are correct. The statement third is incorrect. And here you can see when we talk about the 9 sectors about which the quarterly employment survey provides us the data on the employment, then here you can see the 9 sectors are health, construction, education, accommodation and restaurant, trade, IT, BPOs, financial services, transport and manufacturing. So these are the total 9 sectors across which the data is being provided by this particular survey. And when we talk about the important finding, this survey says that the employment in the second quarter has been increased to 3.1 crore, and when we compare this part with the results of the first quarterly employment survey, then it was 3.08 crore. That means an addition of 2 lakhs in the employment. Okay, and now my dear learners, when we talk about the sector wise share of the total employment, here you can see, as we have discussed, that manufacturing sector was the sector which accounts for the maximum share in this total employment, followed by education with 22%, and the rest has been mentioned here. Okay, the health is having 10.8%, the IT BPOs are having 10.7%, the rest you can go through. And when we talk about another important point, that is the share of the females in the workforce, then my dear learners, when we talk about the gender wise share of the total employment, then female accounts for 32.1%, while male accounts for 67.9% in the share of the total employment. And the other important points have been mentioned here, you can go through them. If we talk about the important points, this says that nearly 90% of the establishments have been estimated to work with the less than 100 workers. Okay, and when we talk about the establishments that they were being operated from the households or outside the households, then this report also mentions the data about that. It says 98.3% of the establishments were located outside households, but a highest of 5.1% of the units in the accommodation and the restaurants were found to operate from within the households. It also says that 16.8% of the establishments provided formal skill development programs. So all other data you can just go through them. And my dear learners, now we are moving towards the next question, which is about the National Quality Assurance Standard. I told you that we are going to discuss this part in the today's session as well. So here, once again, the 3 statements are being mentioned here about the National Quality Assurance Standards, and you are supposed to tell me the right answer in the comment section below, that which of the following statements are correct in relation with the National Quality Assurance Standards. The very first statement says the availability of this particular standards, that these standards are available for what kind of organizations. The second statement says that these standards are primarily meant for providers to assess their own quality for the improvement through predefined standards. And the third statement says that these are broadly arranged under 8 areas of concern, and those areas, the name of those areas have been mentioned here. So my dear learners, when we talk about the right answer to this question, the right answer is option C, that is all of these statements which are being mentioned about the National Quality Assurance Standard, that is NQAS, are correct. See, I have once again I am telling you that all these schemes, the programs, the portals, the initiatives which are being launched by the government are important from the exam point of view, and you are required to cover them very comprehensively. And when we discuss this NQAS, I want to tell you that it has been launched by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And what exactly was the aim behind that? This was being launched to ensure and strengthen the specific requirements for the public health facilities as well as global best practices. And when we talk about the key features of this particular program, here you can see that the main focus of this program is to enhance the satisfaction level among the users of the government health facility. See, a large proportion of our population uses these government health facilities, and their satisfaction level is really very important in order to in order to enhance the level of health in the India. Okay, and that is the reason for this particular part, this particular standards have been released by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and these are currently available for the district hospitals, CHCs, PHCs, and the urban PHCs. And my dear learners, when we talk about the different areas across which these will be the areas of concern which this particular standards caters are the service provision, patient rights, input support services, clinical care, infection control, quality management, and the outcome. So my dear learners, that was the last question of our today's session, and that was all from the today's session. I really believe that today's session was very much useful and fruitful to all of you. And if you have any queries, you can drop us a mail at the hello@edutab.co.in, and you can also place us a call at 814-620-7241. So thank you for joining us. Wish you all happy learning.